The Smashing Machine is officially out now. The story of Mark Kerr hits the big screen for movie fans and MMA fans to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, this film is really based off the title of, I believe, an HBO documentary called The Smashing Machine that they did, I think, in around 2002, 2003. And it really followed the rise, somewhat of a fall, but also the revival of Mark Kerr. Now, Mark Kerr is one of the original MMA pioneers. He is somebody that fought in the UFC, fought in Pride, but really changed the direction of what MMA was in the United States. Now, as an MMA fan, I remember my first time watching was in 2007, and people today would not really recognize who Mark Kerr was or understand the impact of what he did in the MMA scene. But with the Smashing Machine, we are getting more than just Mark Kerr, the fighter. We are getting Mark Kerr, the person, and I think that is where this movie is very successful. Starring Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, you have really this rise of Mark Kerr on the MMA scene to his ultimate collapse with personal battles. And I think at first I was very nervous about The Rock taking on this role. In a sense, I feel like he is in everything, and I was not believing he was going to do a good job. But I will openly admit that I think he did an outstanding job in this movie. Now, Emily Blunt takes on the role of Dawn, who is his girlfriend and then wife. And I think Emily Blunt hit the character right on the head. Now, I don't know much about Dawn and really their relationship, but I do know if Dawn was made out to be a terrible person, Emily Blunt hit it perfectly. She played the character of a narcissist, somebody that is self-centered, very well, and it was an added part to this film. Now, when you are looking at a movie like this, you want something that's going to solidify its overall status. What in this movie is going to allow you to see that it is an MMA film, but also a film about personal struggle? And I think adding Ryan Bader and Bas Rutten to this movie gives it that power to be solidified in the long run. Now, I think that matters for this specific reason. When you are looking at a movie based on a real person, especially in MMA, you want somebody or a group of people that have experience in the sport, but also the knowledge of the characters to be included. And that is what you have with those two. Now, looking at where this movie succeeds, number one is the story in general. I think by having this story and not just having it focus on fighting, but focus on Mark Kerr, the person, who he was, how he struggled, his success in MMA, the lows of MMA, that is what allows this movie to be successful. Number two is the cinematography. I think the video and the shots within this movie are outstanding. It almost felt like you were watching a candid camera, a home video. And for a movie that is based in the 1990s and early 2000s, it fits it perfectly. And that was one of the first things that I noticed within this film. The shaky camera, the dialogue, the scenes within it. It almost felt like a home movie. And I think A24 hit that very, very well. But I think the biggest thing that stands out is, along with the story, along with the cinematography, the video, is the characters that were included. Like I said, when you are looking for an MMA film and you have to look for some type of credibility, including those that have that experience is key. But I think all of the actors and actresses, whether a main character or a secondary character were casted well. I think each of them hit their desired need on the screen in every aspect of this film. You knew who you were going to like. You knew who you were going to hate. You loved the secondary characters for the support that they provided. And I can't really say that a lot about movies in 2025. But that specific scenes with those characters, whether it was two of them, all of them, you just kind of allowed or were allowed and saw the chemistry there. Whether it was positive or negative energy, it was present the entire time. Now, unfortunately, with the movie, you have to look at the cons. What are the cons of the movie? What could have been done differently? And I think there's one specific thing that stood out, and it was the fighting scenes. Now, when you look at the way they had the Pride ring and you had the early UFC days, it resembled it perfectly. But I think when you are looking at the fighting scenes, a lot of what you saw was very unrealistic. Now, I get it. It's a film. But when you're looking at the transitions of positions, you're looking at the grappling scenes and the situations, so it just didn't feel real like some people portray it to be. And so as an MMA fan, I'm watching this and you see Mark Kerr in a certain position and then all of a sudden he's reversed in the most simplistic way. You're thinking to yourself, what is this? And I think for me, that is one of the only cons within this movie. Now for rating. For me, The Smashing Machine is a 4.8 out of 5. This movie exceeded my expectations. The Rock alone exceeded what I expected him to do. The story is amazing. If you've not even watched the special, I would recommend watching a Mark Kerr special. And I think this is just a great movie. As an MMA fan, if you are an MMA fan, this is one of those stories that you will sit through, watch, and enjoy it from start to finish. And I think throughout the 2 hours, it flew by. It almost did not even feel like it was 2 hours because the story on screen was excellent. I think A24 hit this one right in the head, and it is a perfect film. So for me, The Smashing Machine is a 4.8 out of 5 and a movie that I highly recommend. So if you have a chance to see it this weekend, go and do so. I have one or two more reviews coming this weekend before I head off for fall break. So stay tuned. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you all later.